Traditional Norwegian food reflects the country's deep connection to nature, with dishes that highlight the best of the sea, the forest, and the mountains. Fresh seafood like salmon, cod, and mussels are central to the Norwegian diet, and wild game such as reindeer and moose connects Norwegians to the heritage and rugged wilderness of their country. Bakeries and cafés bring warmth to the community with freshly baked cinnamon and cardamom buns made from old Scandinavian recipes. Together, these traditions create a cuisine that feels both rustic and refined, rooted in survival and seasonality, yet celebrated for its purity and balance. Today, we are taking ourselves on a DIY Norwegian food tour around the city of Oslo. And unfortunately, a lot of the restaurants that I want to go to are closed for holiday. So very unfortunate for us, but very glad for the owners, taking the time to go on a vacation. But I did manage to find other places that had the foods I want to try. And it looks like we're gonna be having a lot of seafood, wild game, and freshly baked pastries. We're gonna go ahead, pack up all of our stuff, and head out on the food tour. Our first stop of the day is at a bakery that's been around since 1861, and this is definitely a chain that you can find all around Oslo. Personally, I decided to come here just because I knew for a fact that they had the two things we're about to try, but I highly recommend you checking out other local bakeries just because when you walk into these Norwegian bakeries, it literally feels like you've stepped into someone's living room, maybe grandma's living room. There's always so many furs and beautifully knitted and crocheted blankets. Sometimes you'll find mismatched ceramics and freshly picked flowers on the table. So overall, I highly recommend you going in just to experience the eclectic taste that we have been able to experience in the Norwegian bakeries. But the very first thing that I have is cardamom. This is the Norwegian cinnamon bun, and it is basically a very fluffy pastry that's been wrapped with cinnamon and sugar. All the goodness is in here. They heated it up for us. And then the other one that we've had that we've actually come to really love here in Norway is the skoleberd. And this is a cardamom bun that has custard on the inside, some icing, and coconut flakes. So moist, it's sticking to the plate. Oh, it's so soft. I think it's a good sign when you can touch the bread and you can already feel the ooey, gooey goodness. Something I really love about Norwegian pastries is that they're never overly sweet. And even with the amount of sugar that you see sprinkled on top, you really can't taste too much of that sweetness, and it allows the bread to stand out. It feels homemade even though you're getting it at a bakery, even a chain like this one. Feels like it just came out of the oven.
It's certainly a lot less sweet than the cinnamon rolls I grew up with, but I really do love it. Ever since dating and being with Claire, she's helped me lower my sugar intake, and I think it's been good for my overall health because now I can enjoy things with less sugar and find them absolutely delightful. Can you tell I was a sugar addict? And I kind of still am with the hard candy in my bag.
I was about to say he already got his sugar fill from all the hard candies he was able to eat at the Norsk Museum. And I was right, he was eating them in bed before going to sleep every night, so.
Don't worry, I brushed my teeth afterwards. I don't know why, but ever since I learned and tried a skoleberd for the first time here in Norway, I just have felt like it's a symbol of Norway. I don't know if it's that golden sun and us being here for the midnight sun, and then this icing that's on the edges just reminds me of like a river or the mountains. It's really been like imagery that has stuck in my head, and I feel like as I go home, when I think of Norway, I'm gonna be thinking of this pastry, and I'll probably want to make some at home. I love the sugar, the icing, and the coconut on the outside. Fantastic.
I'm glad Chad took the first bite because I really want the custard. The custard is the best part of this bun.
No, the edge. The edges.
To each their own. Good thing we're eating this together. He can eat the edge and I can eat the custard.
But I also like the custard.
Chad likes too much. I've said this a million times, but I love cardamom. Honestly, ever since we went to Finland and we tried their cardamom buns over there, I've stocked our spice rack with cardamom and we've been putting it in our oatmeal and in our buns. It's just a spice that I didn't grow up with, and I think it's so unique, so elegant, and it just elevates anything you put it in. All right, I'm gonna take.
You can put it down.
Now I can eat the custard. What I love about their custard in the skoleberd is it doesn't taste like they put much sugar in it. It purely tastes like the custard itself, like you can taste the egginess in it.
after a short stop at our hotel, we actually picked up this green umbrella, and it is major key because it started raining, but we do think there's gonna be an opening this afternoon, which is great, but then it's gonna be raining pretty much the rest of the day. But fresh air is great, this umbrella is fantastic, and our next stop is a hot dog.
I know, and we've traveled quite some ways for this hot dog. We've run through the rain, we have gone on a tram, so high stakes for this hot dog.
It's gonna be amazing, I can't wait. Wow, smells great.
First day with rain,
Yeah,
100 days.
wow.
We're glad for the rain today.
Yeah.
It was like a fire alert.
Oh, yeah, because it's too dry.
Too dry.
Yeah.
All right, here is the hot dog that we traveled a very long way for. This is pose y lompe, and it is a hot dog, very long one, I must say, in a soft potato flatbread, which kind of looks like a tortilla.
Yeah.
And it's topped with ketchup, mustard, and crispy onions.
Yeah, you can smell the onions for sure. It smells so good.
Oh yes, yes, definitely. And it's a very popular Norwegian street food.
Yes.
So,
First bite for you.
ooh,
Okay.
I love a good hot dog.
That brings me right back to the one we tried in Iceland.
One of my favorite things to top hot dogs with are these crispy onions. And I feel like in the US you usually get relish, but I love the crunchy onions.
Yeah.
It gives it so much flavor. Man, if we weren't doing a food tour and we were just getting this for lunch, I would definitely go and get another one. But we gotta save stomach space.
You know.
We have come under the protection of a giant tree, so we are free from any raindrops hitting our waffle here. I always feel so funny saying the word waffle. I don't know, it sounds funny to me. But this here is the waffle, and the and the reason why we got it is because it has brunost, which is brown cheese, a very special thing to eat here in Norway. And the brown cheese is said to have like a caramel-like taste to it, but the waffle itself has little heart shapes, which I think is very cute. Sometimes you can rip a heart out and eat it like that, or they kind of recommend that you fold it up and then eat it almost like a taco, I suppose. But we decided to get it with the brunost, the brown cheese, and this white sauce that could be...
It's cheese.
You think it's cheese?
Or or
yogurt? I was gonna guess sour cream.
Oh, or maybe it's
I don't
sour
know.
cream. Never mind.
And then we also got jam. So let's give it a try. All right.
We're all waiting. Everyone's waiting to watch you eat this.
Like this? This is like the thickness that I think waffles should be, because sometimes like the really thick ones, I feel like the ratio is just a little bit off with the toppings. I kind of like how thin they are. One of my first impressions of the brown cheese is that it is very good. I personally really like it. Like I would just eat slices of it like that. Just because it's a little bit sweet, a little bit salty. And yeah, it does have the caramel taste, but I kind of like the mix of the sweetness and the saltiness at the same time.
Quick pause to thank the partner of today's video, Rosetta Stone. One of the biggest lessons we've learned while traveling is how much language shapes your experience. Even when we're in places like Norway and most of the locals speak incredible English, knowing just a few phrases in the local language or region that you're exploring can change everything. It shows effort, curiosity, and respect. We've been using Rosetta Stone to keep growing in that skill, not just to get by, but to actually connect more deeply wherever we go. Claire's been learning French, and I've been rotating between Spanish and German depending on where we're going to next. What we love most is that Rosetta Stone teaches through immersion. No constant translating, just intuitive learning through visual, repetition, and real conversation. And with their true accent feature, it even fine-tunes your pronunciation so you sound more natural when you speak. I personally have actually been loving their phrasebook feature that's within the app. It's a really quick reference, and it helps me to check my pronunciation whenever we're on the go, and I just want to remind myself of a lot of those key phrases that we're going to be using while traveling.
Yo te veré en el parque en 20 minutos.
Right now, Rosetta Stone is offering over 60% off their lifetime membership, which gives you access to every language they offer forever. You can click the link in the description box below or scan the QR code on the screen to check it out. Thanks again to Rosetta Stone for making this partnership possible. And with all of that, now let's get back to eating our way through Oslo. So if you guys have never looked at a map of Norway, you should definitely take a peek because the country has a huge coastline all along, honestly like the northwest and south of it. And because of that, seafood is a huge backbone or even the cornerstone to Norway when it comes to their culture. It's a huge part of this country. Being able to fish just a few days ago up in Lofoten was just such a memorable experience, and I felt like I was able to connect with this country even further. So tonight we decided that we wanted to dine in some more seafood, and so we got a number of different dishes. And to start, I got a little radler, an alcohol-free radler, one of my favorite drinks, and I can already tell it's going to be a good dinner when it starts with this. Wow, fits perfectly.
Originally, I was going to get a white wine to pair with all the seafood we're about to have this evening, but I saw this special soda on the menu and I just had to try it. It was saying that it's a botanical drink with notes of citrus, ginger, and pine needles, and I was like, ooh, that sounds fancy and very original, something that I've just never heard of before. But here it says skog, which is the name of the soda, means forest in Norwegian, and it is a dry fermented sparkling drink made with wild plants hand-picked from Nordic nature. And it's saying that the taste is kind of like a walk in the woods. It just gets better and better the more I read this description. Ooh, ooh, I like that. It almost feels like it should be, I don't know, a candle or a cologne or a perfume. So fragrant. The first thing we're having this evening are the Norwegian oysters. I'm really excited about this just because when we were up in Lofoten, they were talking about how they spend the winters getting these oysters, and it's through some pretty harsh conditions. And so it feels like quite a luxury to be able to try them right now. On the menu, these are the Norwegian Pacific oysters, and they kind of describe them to taste wild, mineral-y, and salty. There's this like red sauce in the middle. I think it's a vinegar of some kind. Ooh, I really like it with this vinegar because it gives it a bit of a tang. But yeah, that is so fresh. If they weren't so pricey, I'd definitely get some more because these are super, super yummy.
That's a really good oyster.
Does it taste wild?
It does taste
salty.
wild, minerally, and salty. Is that what it was? I wonder if that's just like a Norwegian translation and there's like a word that means wild and it describes the taste. Or I'm overthinking it and they just literally meant wild.
Since landing in Norway, we have eaten our fair share of smoked salmon. I'm talking, we've eaten 4 packs of the grocery store smoked salmon over the span of 5 days. That's almost 1 pack a day. And it is because you just hear great things about the Norwegian smoked salmon and the Norwegian salmon in general. This is going to be our first taste of completely raw, fresh Norwegian salmon. And this is a salmon tataki. It has some, I believe, some fish eggs on the top, some pickled fried veggies, and then also a ponzu sauce. Oh my goodness, that is so good. What's really interesting is you can actually see a big color difference between the salmon here and like the salmon that we get in our grocery stores back in the States. That is just what I love. I love seeing the freshness in the color itself. The seafood feast continues on. We have some mussels over here that was cooked with cream, garlic, and shallots. And I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze on the lemon. Ooh. There's so many in this pot. I'm very excited for it. And then on the other side, we have some snow crab legs. This one was tossed with butter as well as some herbs and garlic, so I think it's gonna be very tasty. This one also has some lemon. Everything has come with lemon tonight, and I'm gonna give that a squeeze as well. All right, it's time to get our hands dirty. That's a lot harder than
Such a huge bite of crab. Hour later, we got through it all. It was so good.
Ooh, I'm trying to hold the camera. My hand is shaking so much from all that picking. I will say I'm pretty sore. A lot of work, but very well worth it.
could not decide what beer to get, so I decided to go with a flight of Norwegian craft beers that apparently are not pasteurized, and they use something called open fermentation, which sounded very interesting.
I decided to get a very fun drink. It has a stripy straw and it's pink, and this is called the Ruby Star. It features a Norwegian gin as well as some rhubarb flavoring.
Tonight I decided to get a moose burger, and a little bit of background on wild game in Norway. It is super important to the rural communities as well as the Sami culture. It's just super important to their diet, especially way out there. And so I'm thanking this moose for its sacrifice tonight as I delight. Thank you, moose. I also like that they put the little Norwegian flag right on top. And I also got some rosemary fries, which sounded really good as well.
And then I decided to get their reindeer steak. And I've actually been able to have some reindeer here in Norway already, and it is just so good. It's just something we don't really get to eat much back home. So let's dig into our wild game feast.
You want a fry?
Ooh, I get a rosemary fry. Oh, that's good. The seafood feast is not over. We have one final thing to try, and then our Norwegian food tour will be concluded because we are way too full. So the last thing I have here is torfisk. You can actually find it at a lot of different grocery stores. That's where we got this one from. It is air-dried cod, and when we were up in the Lofoten Islands, we saw so many wooden racks just out and about on the island where they would dry the cod during the winter. We were actually able to try this at the end of a hike when we were in Lofoten, but the one we tried was called like the crazy bits, and it was just, I guess, a different part of the fish. This one looks more so like the normal, the normal areas of the fish. So as you can see, it is very dry. Very, very dry. I think after eating all that very juicy seafood, this feels extremely dry. I think some people might even say it's closer to tasteless because there's just like no salt. It's just the fish itself, and the taste is just very subtle. The packaging says it has omega-3, and it's also very high in protein, so I'm sure it's a really good snack to have on the go or when you're on a hike. Yeah, well, that's torfisk for you. Well, that is officially a wrap on our Norwegian food tour, and I've gotta say, just from the freshly baked pastries to the seafood and the wild game, you can really feel the love that's been poured into all of the dishes that we were able to try today, and I feel very grateful to be holding all of those foods in my stomach. I know I'm gonna sleep very well tonight, but thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to see where we go next and what we do next, hit subscribe, and with all that, catch you all next time. Bye!